Hello and welcome to this lesson. This lesson deals with the setup of inventory subinventories. Subinventories is a name that's rather unique to Oracle applications. Basically, it is a place that can hold stock locators, which in turn hold your inventory. Subinventories are typically things like raw material, stores, finished goods. These are a way of defining your inventory and dividing it into coarse groups where you can then interpret, based on their name, the type of material that you can find in them. It's what we would typically see. For instance, if I were to go to my on-hand quantity, look at my M1 organization, I can see the following list of subinventories. Some are finished goods, some are low value, stores, raw material, and on and on. Typically the list would not be as long as you see in this instance. A typical list of subinventories for any given inventory would be anywhere from the range of 4 to 7 or so. Now we'll go to see how those subinventories are set up. From your inventory screen, go down to Setup, Organizations, Subinventories. This screen will open. You can run a query by Control F11. This will bring up all the subinventories available. If you wanted to create a new one, you would hit the new icon. You could then open and go to a screen to set those values. Pick one that doesn't already exist. Give it a definition. You'll notice a lot of information will default in. I'll talk about some of the more important aspects of this form. Of course, quantity tracked and asset subinventory. Asset subinventory means that basically it's an asset on your books. It's considered a valid inventory asset. The cost of material that is in those subinventories is against your inventory asset account. Include an ATP, that's material to include in your available to promise calculations. Allow reservations. That typically means reservations are allowed for sales orders. For instance, if you take a sales order and they want to reserve that material and have that material available for a sales order, then this would be checked. Nettable simply means, is this available for MRP to plan? So you would check this if you want MRP to see this material. Locator control is very important. Quite often it is pre-specified, so you have a given list of stock locators that are associated with the subinventory. Dynamic entry means you can enter the stock locators as you perform the transactions. Item level means that the locator control is given to the item and is not established at the subinventory. None simply means that there are no stock locators for that given subinventory. That's a non-typical setting. I most often see it used for material that's questionable whether or not it's good or bad, available for planning, available for use in manufacture. MRB is quite often a non-locator controlled subinventory. You can assign a location to a subinventory. Again, locations are simply addresses, physical addresses that you could assign to them. I quite often see this used in consignment subinventories, either supplier consignment or customer consignment. Those are the typical settings. Of course, this is where you would set your different accounts for the different types of accounting that you need to use during inventory processing. You can go here to this form and you can associate locators. Now in this case we have no locator control, but if I were to set that to pre-specified, it would come up with my available locations, and you would see this form here. You can set sourcing for a subinventory, whether or not that sourcing comes from a supplier or from another inventory within your site. You can do so. And those are the basic settings that you need to know for your subinventories. Those are the things that you would most likely set when determining new subinventories. So that concludes our lesson.